Yes, so yes, I'm happy to be and contribute with my second paper to this conference. My paper is called, like my presentation, Data Trustees, a whitelisting approach for trusted data sharing. Before I discuss my paper, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Michael Steinert. I live in Germany, near Dortmund. I have studied computer science. I have a background in software development, and now I'm working as a research associate at the Fraunhofer ISST in the research areas of data spaces and also data trustees. And I'm using my practical developer knowledge to transfer research questions into practical solutions. So I want to go briefly through the agenda. Before I discuss paper, I would like to introduce the both concepts of data spaces and also data trustees, because these are fundamental concepts of my paper. Then I will present the challenges that we try to address with our research question. I will briefly describe the research methodology that we have here used, and also the research findings and their implications. So yes, a brief introduction, maybe the fifth or sixth today. What is a data space? A data space is a collaborative environment where you can share and interact with data, yes, to maximize its value, yes, through the interaction. This is the main point behind data spaces. There are some functions that a data space need to fulfill. You only share metadata between the participants, so the real data remain at the source. After the data is transferred, so it is directly transferred in a peer-to-peer transfer. Also the data space put on the participants compliance, because in the data space implementation are regulation implemented. Therefore, all participants adhere to the specific rules of the data space and also the regulatory behind this. And also, what is to mention that the data space is infrastructure agnostic. That means it can run on premise, like private hardware on its edge or on cloud systems. Now, maybe a new concept, data trustee. So a data trustee is a trustworthy intermediary that manages and protects sensitive data. Yes, to first to ensure the legal requirements, and also to be aligned with the customer agreements from the data owner about this data. And the idea why I'm dealing with data trustees is because they have a lot of functions that are already covered by data spaces, and therefore a data space participant is a good fit to be a data trustee. So we are on a really high level to say this, but on a functional level, yes, as I said, a data space fulfills a lot of functionalities of the data trustee, like transparency and data sovereignty. A data trustee should allows the data owner to retain full control over their data, and they can track how the data is being used. Also, another function that also counts to the first one is access and permission management. This is also covered by data spaces. Yes, this allows the data owner to put some access and permission to its data. A function that is not covered by data spaces but is needed for data trustees is a kind of data processing. In this case, is anonymization or pseudonymization or aggregation of data. Yes, to make the sensitive data, to protect the sensitive data, yes, and thereby reducing privacy risks. The fourth function that a data trustee should fulfill, that is also covered by data spaces, is to oversee how the data usage is, and yes, and also to be capable to see and maintain the logs to ensure some compliance requirements and so on. So after we have discussed the fundamental concepts of my paper, I will go to the challenges and the research question. The challenge is that I would say in modern data ecosystems like data spaces, there is often trust missing between participants, especially when dealing with sensitive data. Sensitive data like personal data or proprietary business informations. And this hinders the participants to share the data. This hinders in the second place then the collaboration and the innovation that comes from data-intensive applications like machine learning or predictive analytics. So, and these challenges led us to data trustees that are there to close this gap for the secure and trustworthy mechanism to share sensitive data and also meet the regulatory requirements. This is also a task of the data trustees. So, as I said, data trustees solve these challenges, and our approach was to reduce the manual selection of a data trustee within a data space, because the manual selection is not scalable, not efficient, and also prone to bias. And this led us to our research question, so how we can automate the whole process of the identification and also the selection of data trustees in a data space. For this, we have developed two artifacts, which I describe in the research methodology that we have used. We have used the design science research approach. Yes, this is an effective approach for solving problems or theories that they are not existing, like the data trustee selection in our case. Therefore, we have done in our first cycle the design and implementation of the two EDC extensions. And in the upcoming cycle, we would like to evaluate the two extensions that we have written down. Yes, and these are the both extensions that we have developed. The first one is a policy that's allowed the data owner to put some rules on the data to restrict data access only to authorized parties, thereby using verifiable credentials to ensure this. The second extension is a whitelist approach, that each participant has its own whitelist of trusted participants. And yes, when they both are used, then we will get, on the right side you have the standard data space interactions, and the top interactions they are solved by our two extensions. So first, the negotiation phase about the data trustee that both data consumer and provider want to use. And second is then the notification that he knows that he will be the intermediary, the trustworthy intermediary, that over it the data goes. So our research findings and implications are: we have automated this selection process. This builds confidence because I have my own whitelist, so I have my own list of trust. Therefore, I know only in the data exchange are trusted participants involved. We increase the efficiency by removing the manual process of selecting and identifying a data trustee that could be time-consuming. This approach is scalable because there's no manual task in it. Yes, we have also increase the trustworthiness because only trusted participants are there, and also we could improve the to fit regulatory standards like GDPR or the DGA when we in forefront scrutinize the data trustee. Yes, so this is the first step towards a more decentralized and scalable and also trustworthy data trustee in data spaces. So with our two data space EDC extensions that we have built, we have provided them on open source on GitHub. So everyone that is using the Eclipse Dataspace Components can take them and implement them or customize them. This is only the endpoints that are used to negotiate and find data trustees. And in conclusion, yes, the takeaway is we have addressed the challenge of missing trust in data spaces by managing the selection of data trustees through this whitelisting approach. Yes, and yes, as I said, we promote a more secure, compliant, and also scalable way to sharing data in an ecosystem. And the next steps would be, as I said, in the next cycle, we want to use the artifacts and put them into the real-world use cases. And based on the practical implications, we would refine the design and so on, like this in a design science research approach. Yes, and the last words. We are happy to get feedback from the community to further exchange the trust and also the functionality in data spaces. So thank you for your time and your attention.